Wait! What's going on here? After being asked for help by my mother, I hurried home from work. In front of me was a moving truck parked outside. Hey, whose stuff are they moving? My husband calmly replied to my question. It's my parents' stuff. He decided to move his parents without consulting me or my mother. To top it off, he kicked my mother out of the house. I won't forgive them for this selfish act. I make sure they regret their insensitivity. My name is Vanessa, and I'm 28 years old. I met my husband Oscar at work, and we've been married for almost 2 years now. We live with my mother in her house, the three of us. A few years ago, my mother had an accident that left her physically disabled. She can do the minimum, but it's still worrisome to leave her alone, so we decided to live together. At first, my husband was understanding and considerate of my mother, but lately, his selfish behavior has become unbearable. Hey, Oscar, we have to go to the hospital with Mom this Saturday. Sorry, I can't. Huh? My husband immediately responds to my words. Not only that, but he says it without even looking at me. Wait a minute, I haven't said anything yet. It's probably something like, take Mom to the hospital. I don't want to ruin my day off. It's impossible. No, it's not that. I wanted you to take care of the house while I take Mom to the hospital. Oh, that. But it's impossible. Huh? Why not? It's your job as a housewife to do that kind of thing, not mine. Besides, it's my day off. Housewife? We both work, you know. When we got married, we promised to support each other, including our mothers. However, my husband never really followed through on his end of the deal, no matter how many times I asked him. Eventually, he started getting moody and ignoring me altogether. Despite coming home at the same time every day, he never bothered to prepare any meals. Instead, he'd say insensitive things to me, knowing full well that I was exhausted from work. Hey, I'm hungry. Is the food ready yet? Why don't you just have your mother-in-law make it? She's just sitting around the house all day anyway. Or we could just eat out. Either way, make sure you give me some money. After putting up with this behavior for so long, I knew that I had to have a serious talk with him soon. One day, while I was making breakfast, my mother came out of her room, drenched in sweat and looking uncomfortable. I rushed over to her and asked what was wrong. What happened? Oh, I'm just feeling a little hot. Well, it's 82 degrees outside, so I'm not surprised. Did you not turn on the air conditioning in your room? It doesn't have good ventilation, does it? Well, you see, Oscar told me not to use it because it wastes electricity. Excuse me? Unexpected news from my mother left me speechless. Oscar did what? He told you not to use the air conditioning? But it's so hot, and if we don't use it, we'll get sick. I rushed to my husband's room and confronted him immediately. Hey, Oscar, what were you thinking? Oscar responded to my angry voice with an annoyed expression. What's the matter, all of a sudden? What's the matter? You told Mom not to use the air conditioning. Why would you say something so cruel? Cruel? But we're the ones paying for the utilities in this house. It would be a waste of money to use it unnecessarily, right? Unnecessarily? What if Mom gets sick because of this? You're exaggerating, Vanessa. Are you only thinking about your mother? What about my feelings? Huh? I've been thinking about a lot of things lately, like our future and the children we'll have someday. Yet, Vanessa, you always seem to be thinking about your mom. We are not even talking about that right now. If your mom is so important to you, then maybe you just focus on your parents. My husband threw a cushion at me and then went to bed in a huff. What is his problem? I always keep the air conditioner on blast when I'm in the room, but I guess that's okay for me and not for others. He's being so selfish. Our house doesn't have any rent because my mother built it for us. She pays the property tax and gives us a monthly allowance, which my husband knows. Why did he say what he did? I'm not asking him to be grateful to my mother, but I wish he would at least consider her. We have to talk about this another day. I let out a sigh as I soaked in the bathtub. A few days later, as usual, Vanessa went to work and was doing her job when her phone rang. Her mother's name appeared on the screen. Huh? Mom? Why are you calling me at this time? Normally, her mother never called during work. Could something be wrong? Vanessa nervously answered the phone. Mom, what's wrong? Is everything okay? Vanessa's mother cried out. Help me, Vanessa. What? What do you mean help? Vanessa's mother explained. Oscar brought his parents to our house and something terrible happened. Wait, Oscar brought his parents here? Then she heard her husband's voice over the phone, blaming her mother. Hey, wait a minute. I told you not to contact Vanessa, didn't I? But Oscar, this is really troubling. Ugh, you are so annoying. Just hang up the phone quickly. You're making things more complicated. Oh, wait, Oscar. Let me have the phone back. After that, the call from her mother ended, leaving only a beeping sound. What was that about? This was definitely not a normal situation. I spoke to my boss and rushed home. When I arrived, I was speechless. Hold on, what's going on here? There was a moving truck parked in front of my house, and my husband was giving instructions to the movers. I confronted my husband. Hey, whose stuff are they moving? Vanessa, did you just get back from work? Never mind that. Just answer my question. Whose stuff is it? Don't bring things into our house without asking me first. It's my parents. They're having a hard time and are struggling to make ends meet. That's why I invite them over. My anger began to boil as my husband spoke so casually about this. Wait a minute. Neither my mom nor I agree to this. You can't just do whatever you want. If I told you beforehand, you would have refused. That's why I didn't say anything. Got a problem with that? Are you kidding me? The idea that they can just move in with us as if they own the place is ridiculous. Anyway, ask your parents to leave. What the hell? We just moved in and you're already kicking them out. You are the lowest of the low. I'm not the lowest of the low. Why do I have to take responsibility for your parents' ridiculous behavior? They are the ones acting uncivilized. As I trembled with anger towards my husband-in-laws, he said something absolutely ridiculous again. Hey, Vanessa, when you think about it, my healthy parents are more reliable in the future. So, we should take good care of them. What? What does that mean? I mean, we should prioritize my parents over your mother. His parents are more reliable? Before we got married, I heard from him that his parents had a gambling addiction. How can such unreliable parents be relied on in the future? So, from now on, we will prioritize my parents. So, please ask your mother to leave. When I saw my mother's sad face, my anger reached its peak. Enough already! What are you even thinking? This is my mother's house, after all. I yelled at my husband and in-laws, and he shook his head and sighed. Listen, This is not only your mother's house, but it's also your house as a daughter and my house as a husband. Don't you understand? Of course, I don't understand. My mother built this house and pays the property tax. Yet, you let your parents live here, and now you are asking my mother to leave. How could you have such a stupid idea? Huh? You calling me stupid? You are the one who doesn't understand the priorities. My parents are worth more than your disabled mother with a short life expectancy. What the hell are you talking about? How dare you say that? My mother stopped me before I could lunge at him. Vanessa, calm down now. Mom, don't stop me. It's all right. Let's leave this place. What are you talking about? My mother turned to face my husband and his parents and spoke calmly. Oscar, if your parents are really in trouble, they can stay here. I don't mind. But they have to leave once they find work. That was the deal, right? My husband put on a forced expression in response to my mother's words. Yes, that's right. My dad got laid off, so we are struggling to make ends meet. I see. Then they can stay here for a month. In the meantime, please make sure your father finds a new job. Got it. Thank you. I couldn't believe my husband's convenient response. If we didn't do something, they would take over our home. I whispered to my mother. Mom, are you serious? What if they take over the house? My mother smiled reassuringly. It'll be okay, Vanessa. Trust me. But for now, let's just leave. I wasn't happy with this decision, but my mother was the owner of the house. I had no say in the matter. I decided to follow my mother's lead and remain silent. We immediately rented an apartment and a new life with my mother began. Hey Mom, are you sure about this? I think it's a bit too good to be true. It's fine, don't worry. Oh, and don't contact them from here. Wait for them to contact us. She replied leisurely while sipping tea. But you don't have to worry that much. I'm thinking about it carefully. Huh? What do you mean? It's nothing. What came out of her mouth was beyond my wildest imagination. I couldn't help but feel a little scared of my own mother. But with this plan, from then on, I followed my mother's instructions and waited for their contact. 2 months had passed when I received a sudden call from my husband. Hey, Vanessa, something terrible has happened. Oh, it's been a while. What's the matter? You sound so flustered. It's not just a matter of something. We can't use any of the electricity, water, or gas at home. Please help us. I couldn't help but laugh as I could sense the desperation in his voice, even over the phone. What do you mean, help us? You stopped paying for those utilities, so it's only natural that they are no longer available. What? You stopped paying? Did you do all of that, Vanessa? Yes, I did. I paid for all the utilities, including electricity and gas. Is there a problem? Of course, there's a problem. Why did you do something so selfish? Selfish? We waited for a month as promised, and then I stopped everything. That means you're still living in that house, doesn't it? And in the end, your father-in-law and mother-in-law still haven't found any jobs, have they? When I questioned him like that, my husband looked uncomfortable and said, That's, I pardoned even more. Your parents aren't looking for work. They are going to the casino every day, you know. Oh, didn't you know that? My mother has been keeping an eye on them. After you go to work, they go to the casino together every day. What? Are you kidding me? I give them allowance for their hard work. Well, that allowance disappeared into the casino. All of it. I'm sorry for that. Enough about my parents. Just fix the lifeline already. We can't live in this damn heat. My mom said not to use the air conditioner. It's a waste of electricity. You only care about yourself. As long as you're okay, it doesn't matter to you. What did you say? How dare you say that to your husband? He refused to admit any wrongdoing and ended up turning the tables on me. I was completely fed up with my husband's behavior. Ignoring his screaming over the phone, I bluntly spoke my mind. You stayed with me and my mother for 2 months, and yet you act so high and mighty. Your family was able to live because of my mother during that time. What's with your attitude? What are you thinking about the future? This situation is not going to end well. Shut up. Can you really say that? Huh? If you are going to keep making us suffer, I consider divorce. Huh? Divorce? To my inquiry, my husband laughed triumphantly. Yeah, even Vanessa wouldn't want to get divorced, right? If you don't want a divorce, then quickly arrange a lifeline so you can live on your own. What are you talking about? I've already decided to divorce you. What? I continued to pile on to my foolish husband. Of course, I haven't fallen so far as to cling to marriage after being put through all this. It would be better to divorce than to be forced to live like this. The electricity, water, and gas in that house won't be turned back on until you leave. If that's okay with you, feel free to keep living there. Wait a minute! Don't ever contact me again. I ignored my husband, who was about to say something, and hung up the phone. I decided to wait for his family to leave with the lifeline still cut off. Maybe he realized that I wasn't answering his calls because he started sending me messages instead. Enough already. It's so hot. I feel like I'm dying. Could you at least connect the water? Please, you are the only one I can rely on now. I ignored all of his messages, and a week passed. Without a lifeline, our home was just a box. My husband's family, who had made a lot of noise, finally left our house. We divorced without any issues. My mother and I were able to return to our original home safely, and our peaceful daily life returned. Meanwhile, my in-laws are still struggling to find work and relying on their son's meager income. However, his salary is not what one would call high. Now, he lives in a small apartment under his name with his family of 3, barely making ends meet. They never expressed gratitude to others and always complained. That's why they ended up like this. From now on, my mother and I just want to live quietly without anyone bothering us.